Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 23rd June. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 10. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, presidential election. Meera Kumar is opposition candidate. So former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar has been selected as the candidate of the opposition for presidential elections. The BJP nominee is Mr. Ramnath Kovind. So he is from UP and Meera Kumar is from Bihar. Ramnath Kovind presently is Bihar governor. And the Nitish Kumar led JDU political party of Bihar, which is in power here, they shifted camp and shifted to BJP camp actually from the opposition, supporting Ramnath Kovind, saying that he is Bihar governor. But then Meera Kumar herself is from Bihar. Both are from the scheduled caste. So of course the nomination of BJP is stronger because they have the numbers. So it is very much in favor of the BJP candidate. But this is the status, the two leaders who would be standing for presidential elections. The next is Kulbhushan files mercy petition before Pakistan military chief. So this is regarding Mr. Kulbhushan Jadhav, who is a former naval officer, and he has filed for mercy petition presently before the army chief of Pakistan. So this has come after a confessional statement which he gave. A video has been released by Pakistan in which he has admitted that he was involved in subversive activities in Balochistan. So Balochistan is a region of unrest in Pakistan. So this is the place where espionage and terrorism is undertaken by India, is being highlighted by him. So this India has also lashed out on Pakistan that one, you are not bringing in transparency in the trial and mercy petition process of Kulbhushan Jadhav. The consular access has not been given. That is why we have approached even International Court of Justice. So that has also been done by the government. International Court of Justice presently has stalled the execution because the military court in Pakistan has already sentenced him to death. Now he is going for a mercy petition. So the International Court of Justice has stayed the execution of this death sentence. So that step has been taken, and now India says that the attempt video by Pakistan which has been released is an attempt to introduce prejudice, bias in the case before the International Court of Justice. So this you can see is the Balochistan region here, the region of unrest in Pakistan. This is the whole Balochistan province, right? So here you can see the history of Balochistan too. So it was a princely state. The way we had princely states in India, the way we had trouble with integration of Kashmir, Pakistan faces trouble with respect to Balochistan. So Balochistan had 4 states within it. 3 of them joined Pakistan in 1947, but Kalar chose to stay independent. So this is the region in Balochistan. So they have been fighting for independence, saying that they have been forcefully acceded to Pakistan and they are actually free. So they are fighting for independence. So this is the whole Baloch issue in Pakistan. Then the next news item is a law this time for Antarctica. So this is regarding Indian government preparing a law for Antarctica, which is the world's only continent without countries and citizens. So this has no countries, no citizens. There is already an Antarctica treaty in place to which India has also acceded because we have stations here. The first station of India is Dakshin Gangotri, which was established in 1984. But now presently it has been weakened, it was submerged, and now it is just a supply base. After that we have built this Maitri station. So this is also planned to be rebuilt presently. So we are planning to have a base strong here in Antarctica, and that is why government has said that we will come with a dedicated Antarctica policy and a law, which will be presented in the winter session of Parliament. So this is being done. What do we do in Antarctica? It is we are undertaking scientific expedition because military activity is prohibited. So it is, for scientific expedition that we are undertaking research, and exchange of data is also undertaken here. So because of the Antarctic Treaty, the military activity is prohibited in this region. Then you cannot have nuclear explosions done in this region. You cannot dispose nuclear waste in this region. So these are the provisions under the Antarctic Treaty as such. It can be used only for scientific research and exchange of data. There cannot be any territorial claim also made as such. Presently it is not allowed. So these are the provisions. Also, there are other conventions associated with Antarctic Treaty, like conservation of Antarctic seals, the seal population here, and other conservation of Antarctic marine living resources as such too, are other conventions which have been appended to this Antarctic Treaty, and India has acceded to Antarctic Treaty. So we are signatory to this treaty, so we have to adhere to all these provisions. That is why there is a need for a Antarctic policy and law which will be formulated. And then apart from Dakshin Gangotri and Maitri, we have one more research station here which has been recently commissioned in 2015, and that is Bharti. So this is the research station of India here as well. All this program, Antarctic program, National Antarctic Program of India, is controlled under the control of National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research, which is under Ministry of Earth Science. So this is the programs which we undertake here are with respect to atmospheric, biological, earth, chemical, medical science research. So this is there, and now more than 30 scientific expeditions have been sent to Antarctica by India. Then the next news item is Pattisima comes to the rescue of delta farmers. So this is regarding 1,300 crore Pattisima lift irrigation scheme. So this is a scheme which has been initiated by the Andhra Pradesh government here, and this scheme is to link two rivers. This is linking Godavari and Krishna river, out of which Godavari is the surplus river, out of which a huge amount of water is eventually drained into the sea. And here Krishna river is the one which is in a deficit. So the Rayalaseema region here in the Krishna Delta in Andhra Pradesh needs water, and that is provided through this Pattisima lift irrigation project which has been completed now. So this is the third time that water is being released through Pattisima lift irrigation project, and the farmers here in Andhra Pradesh have been benefited. So here you can see Krishna Delta. So this lift irrigation project, one major contentious issue was this 177 kilometer Polavaram right main canal. So this had created a problem. You can see the whole project is shown here. So here you can see this is the Pattisima project. This is the Pattisima region here, and this whole project, river linking project, this is the Krishna river and the Godavari river here. So this 174 kilometer here of Polavaram right canal. For here, because this canal would be constructed, there would be submergence of land here, and this submergence would take place not just in Andhra Pradesh but in the adjoining states as well. So this had created controversy, but eventually Andhra Pradesh overcame this. The land acquisition was undertaken and it was successfully done, and Polavaram right canal project has also been completed, and now this river linking is in place and water has been released. So this is the third time it is stated the water has been released. So this is one success story of river linking. So this is the Polavaram project which had been prominently in news, and we have discussed it in detail earlier too. Now it has been completed and put into effect. So that is the case here. Then next news item is PSLV will lock heavyweight Cartosat-2 into orbit on Friday. So today ISRO is going to launch its PSLV C-38 Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle C-38, which will carry Cartosat-2 series satellite along with 30 co-passenger satellites. Out of these 30 co-passengers, one is from India and remaining 29 are from 14 different countries, right? And this one from India is a nano satellite NewSat, which has been developed by University Nurul Islam University in Kanyakumari. So this university satellite, nano satellite, will provide imagery for crop monitoring and disaster management support applications. So this will be the application of this NewSat satellite. So many university satellites have also been launched by ISRO. So this is another one coming forth. And the 14 countries you can see named here, it is also involving France, Japan, UK, US, whose satellites will be launched presently by ISRO, which has been done earlier too. And this is through a deal, a commercial agreement with these countries individually, and this is done by Antriksh Corporation, which is the commercial arm of ISRO. So this is regarding Cartosat-2 and the co-passengers. Cartosat-2, the satellite, is a Earth observation satellite because its PSLV means it will be launched in polar orbit, for sun synchronous orbit. So this, it will provide imagery which will be used for cartographic applications. So cartographic applications means mapping applications. So it will help in coastal land use and regulation, road network monitoring, water distribution, land use mapping, and GIS, geographical information system applications. So these Cartosat series satellites are for mapping applications, remote sensing. So here the satellite launch, this sun synchronous orbit is also shown. So you can see the sun synchronous orbit goes in this direction. So this is the equator, is this the axis as such shown here, and this is the sun synchronous orbit. So to understand what is this sun synchronous satellite and this orbit, we look at this GIF. So this is the sun synchronous orbit. The satellite moving in this orbit. So you can see the satellite is tilted at a very wide angle with the equator and is closer to the poles. So this satellite is positioned in such a way that it will always be on the bright side of the Earth and will be able to take images. Because if it's a geostationary orbit, the way we have seen, so if it is near the equator, its angle is such that it is making very small angle with the equator, then there will be time when the satellite will enter into the night part on the Earth, regions where it is night on the Earth. So in those cases, then this is a satellite which is used for taking images. So that would not be able to function effectively. So that is why this sun synchronous orbit is used for such satellites, which are used for remote sensing and mapping functions. So this is shown here. So the sun earth line means this line, the half part will be day and the half part will be night on Earth. So the angle which it makes with it is fixed. Then the next news item is India flags US military aid to Pakistan. So we know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is about due to visit US President Donald Trump presently. So now an issue which has been raised by India is regarding continued military assistance to Pakistan. So America continues to provide military assistance to Pakistan and India claims that this is used to fund cross-border terrorism into India. So it is asking for ending this. America is also providing sale of drones presently. This has also been done. So USA has cleared sale of drones to India. So this aspect of defense is also there. And another point which has been raised at UN Security Council by Indian permanent representative there is regarding that steps need to be taken to deal with the adversary that provides safe haven to terrorists who target Afghanistan. So of course this is also talking of adversary is Pakistan. So this is the point highlighted regarding Pakistan's role supporting terrorism. Then next is plastic bullets sent to Kashmir. So the first batch of plastic bullets have reached Kashmir Valley and this has come expecting that the protests would be increased at the first anniversary of the Hizbul Mujahideen commander Burhan Wani, who was killed in a gun battle by the armed forces on July 8, 2016. And since then, unrest has been continuing in Kashmir. So it will complete an anniversary presently. So the earlier pellet guns, which are metal guns which are used, so the pellet guns have resulted in 13 deaths and eye injuries also, which were prominently in news. Even 250 injuries have happened because of these pellet guns. So there were demands to replace this pellet gun. So now less lethal plastic guns have been sent to the Kashmir Valley as a first batch a few days ago. So this is the news. Then this is regarding police casualties over the years too. Number of people killed by pellet guns. Then next is Army's search for basic assault rifle set to start again. So this is regarding the Army's demand that it wants a new assault rifle. It is 7.62 mm assault rifle which it requires. There is an indigenously developed 7.62 mm assault rifle by Ordnance Factory Board. So this Ordnance Factory Board has developed this indigenous rifle, but then during the trials, Army has rejected it. So why has the Army rejected it? Because it says during the trials, when it was being evaluated, there were a number of faults and stoppages to the extent that they went more than 20 times. So this is more than the maximum permissible standards too. So in its present form, this 7.62 mm assault rifle developed by Ordnance Factory Board is not acceptable. So earlier too, Army had initiated a tender, a global hunt for such missiles. But then it was not successful because the requirement which it had put for general staff qualitative requirements. So they were too over ambitious as it is said. So it was not able to get these assault rifles. What was requiring was both 5.656 mm and 7.62 mm caliber bullets, interchangeable barrels, which would be capable of firing both. So this was not able to acquire. So then afterwards it decided that we go for only 7.62 mm caliber barrel assault rifles, and this request for information has been initiated in September 2016. So Army has already rejected this 7.62 mm assault rifle of Ordnance Factory Board, while the Ordnance Factory Board team says that they had suo motu developed it on their own. The suo motu developed it, and in a short span of 6 months, they had developed this, but the Army has rejected it, saying that it does not meet the standards. So this is the status of defense equipments in India now. Presently the army, the assault rifle which it is using is indigenously made assault rifle called INSAS, Indian National Small Arms System. So this is regarding this 7.62 mm assault rifles hunt. Then the next news item is Center to rejig Air India's debt. So we know Air India is suffering because of a huge debt which has been accumulated also due to inefficiencies in its functioning. So debt of around 50,000 crore is there on Air India presently, and this is unsustainable. So the government is looking at selling stake in Air India as well, but then it is highlighted that before selling stake it is needed that this debt be restructured, because with such huge debt nobody is going to buy it. So there are also these rumors that Tata Group is showing interest and wants to buy this Air India as such, but then the government has clarified that it would have a transparent bidding process through which Air India's stake would be sold. So this is there. And how would this debt be restructured? So there are three alternatives which have been highlighted here. So first is that the finance minister will be asked to take over a part of the airline's debt. So this is one way in which this can be done. So aviation ministry is saying that it will go ahead and ask the finance minister to take up a part of the airline's debt. But then if this is not possible, then the second thing which can be done is the banks. So this debt is with the banks. So the banks can be asked to convert portion of the debt as equity in the airline. So they have a stake in the airline. So this was being asked to be done by the banks earlier too, but banks had refused, because it is seen that Air India is not functioning well. But then there is one more thing highlighted, that it is the first time in after almost a decade that Air India registered operational profit of 105 crore in 2015-16. So this is a positive news too. So this is also the selling point, that it can be revived. It's operational. It is a sign of operational revival. So that is why this is the selling point, that finance minister may also take over a part of the debt, because it will be repaid. That it can be shown here. And also banks are being shown that if it can be repaid, so they can convert a portion of the debt into equity. So this is the second option which is possible. And if this also does not materialize, then the last alternative which stays with that is that Air India's assets have to be sold. So sell off its assets to reduce the debt burden. So these are the alternatives available. So what would be undertaken now? We'll hear in news. This is going to be news for some time now. It has been also discussed out in the economic survey in detail as well. The Air India issue, this debt burden as such. So it is important. So another point is that aviation ministry says that we are not in favor of complete privatization of the national carrier. They don't want this. Government may retain a minority stake. So this is, and this is showing how Air India has been faring. In 2015-16, this 105 crore profit is also shown here. This is the operational profit. So its subsidiaries also, the details which are making profits, making loss are detailed out here, you can see. And this is the entire debt burden of 50,000 crore, out of which 30,000 is working capital debt and 20,000 is aircraft related debt. And on this, it pays an annual interest, because it's a huge amount of debt. So interest has to be paid too, and interest goes up to annually around 4,500 crores of interest. So this is the burden on Air India. And this you can see, it is stated that out of this 20,000 crore debt is sustainable. So out of its operational profit, it can pay an interest of around, this much, 20,000 crore can be taken care of. Presently, it is paying a 4,000 crore interest annually. So if loans are converted into equity, then the carrier's annual interest payment may also go down by 1,000 crores. So steps are being taken in this direction. We'll hear more on this. Then the last news item is resolve 55 accounts in 6 months or face IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So this is the RBI statement here. So the RBI has now asked banks to resolve these 55 high value cases of bad loans within 6 months. So this should be resolved by the banks themselves. If they are not able to resolve it, then these cases will go before the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So the mechanism under it would be effective. We have already seen RBI had initiated and identified 12 accounts of insolvency proceedings, which account for 25% of total NPAs in banks. So this we have already discussed thrice in news in the last few days. So each of these 12 accounts have a outstanding loan of over 5,000 crores. So this is the huge amount of loan which each one of them has taken, which themselves together becomes 25% of total NPAs of banks, including PSUs and private banks. And NPA burden is also maximum on public sector banks. So you can see of the total 8 lakh crores of the NPAs which are there in the banking sector in India, 6 lakh crores is with public sector banks and only 2 lakh crores are with the private sector. And also these, you can see 25% of these total NPAs are also in accounting to around 2 lakh crores. So that is the 25%. What would be the steps which would be undertaken under the insolvency and bankruptcy code? So this also we had done. So what will be done for these 12 accounts? Presently, it has been initiated. If these 55 high value cases are not resolved by banks, then they will also follow the same procedure. The cases will go before the NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, which has been established under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So what would the steps which would be taken? You can see that 14 days time period would be given for admission of rejection or rejection of the case by NCLT. So National Company Law Tribunal can accept or reject the case in 14 days time frame. So once the case is accepted, then the creditor, means the banks, would get 30 days to hire insolvency practitioners. So these insolvency practitioners would go into entire details, and how this insolvency has to be resolved will be decided. So that plan, insolvency resolution plan, will be provided by these insolvency practitioners. For that time frame of 180 days is given. This also can be extended by 90 days. We have already seen. And once this insolvency plan is finalized, this is put before the creditors. If they accept it, and then it is put into effect. If it is rejected, then the liquidation or the selling off of this asset as such can also take place. The company would be liquidated. So this is the whole process under the insolvency and bankruptcy code. So this is being shown here. You can see. So this is the banks. Again, it is mentioned here 8 lakh crore of NPA, 6 lakh with public sector banks. And these 12 identified cases account for 25% of NPAs, that is 2 lakh crores. And this is the IBC process which we just discussed, detailed out here again regarding NCLT, the case going before them, then going to the insolvency professionals, then they getting 180 days, that is 6 months time, and then plan submitted. If it is approved, great, otherwise liquidation. Right? If it's not resolvable, then it will undergo liquidation. Liquidation means selling of the assets, getting back the money. The company is dissolved. So that is it. These are the news items. Thank you.